Hello, everybody. How are you doing? I hope you're all very well. And welcome to How to Create an Event in 30 Minutes by Eventtia. This is, as you might know, a free training webinar in which we will learn how to create an event in 30 minutes. And actually, we're going to go one by one, step by step, on learning how does Eventia in general works, so you can get a better view and a better understanding of how you can use Eventia in order to make successful events. So we're gonna start right away, and but well, before starting, I want to tell you that we have a chat that I'm going to write something here. I'm just gonna say hi on the chat, and we also have a Q&A place where you can post your questions, or where you can interact if you want to have some interaction with the other people that are attending to this webinar and with me, and where you can post all your questions so I can read them and I can answer them live. All right, we're gonna have a space for Q&A in the end, but you can still make some questions, and if that's relevant for the moment, I will be able to help you out with the specific questions. All right, so first of all, I'm gonna launch some polls in order to have your opinions. I would like to know, how did you hear about the Eventtia webinars? You can say, you can select one option, either by email, work colleague, from the Eventtia team, Eventtia website, or social media, if you follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Um, we have some people that haven't voted yet, so we can have the complete votes. Okay, nice. I'm gonna share the results. So have and have. Some of you were invited by work colleagues and some of you by emails, which is quite important because we're really interested on having also the voice-to-voice distribution of these webinars. So colleagues inviting other people. I would also like to know, what type of events do you make? Do you make corporate events? Do you make networking events? Is it academic events, commercial events, or other type of events? You can check to see if one of those categories fits your type of events, um, and you can vote. Okay, let me share the results with you. So we have half of our people go make corporate events, half of them make other type of events. That's quite good. We're gonna use today an academic events example, which is quite simple. It is a simple way to show it. But of course, if you have any questions regarding corporate events, regarding networking module, regarding the exhibitors module and our apps like Eventtia Leads and so on, I will be able to answer them right away. Okay, my other question is, have you used another event management software before? So basically, Eventtia is an EMS, or event management software. There are some others in the market, so we would like to know if you have. I'm gonna share results. Thank you. You're voting quite quick. All of you said no, so that's good because you're going to learn how to use Eventia, and well, basically that's the main EMS that you have to learn how to use. All right, we're gonna do some polls but let's get into business. So right now I'm at Central Time. It's 10:05 right now. So I'm gonna kind of tell you which time is it here, and then we'll do this tab, and I'll tell you how many minutes did we get. You might be in another time zone, but here it's 10:05. Okay, so I am Santiago Castillo, Customer Success Manager at Eventtia. You probably have had some type of contact with me, or if you hadn't, you'll definitely had it at some time. I help with all the parts of support, all the training, and also all the commercial parts with clients, such as renewal, upsells, etc. So if you're interested in any additional module or in any additional event, I will be able to help you out with that, and I will be able to give you a hand so you can continue with the process through my help. Okay, so we've already gave you some introduction, and now I'm going to explain you the webinar structure. So first of all, we're gonna learn why and how to configure multiple attendee types and how to create an effective registration form. also how to to generate attendee badges, and we're going to dive into that. Then we're going to get to how to set up an event schedule, how to design an event website, and how the online registration works. So the front face, the user experience for your attendees. And then we'll get to a Q&A session, which probably today will be quite interesting because I think we'll get into the other stuff quite quick, so you can ask any questions you have, and then we'll just do some conclusions. So let's start with the first part, which is why and how to configure multiple attendee types and how to create an effective registration form and generate attendee badges. I am probably also going to teach you about how to create a success and welcome email, success registration messages and welcome emails. So right now I'm just getting here to Eventtia Home. So if you already have an account, you probably know how to do this. Otherwise, you have to sign up. So here, this is our this is a brand new website. We have it in all our languages already, and we'll probably have also here a tab for webinars where you can check when these webinars are going to be, which is going to be quite cool. So if we get here into the login, you just put your username and password, and you can log into your event or your events. So you sign in and you'll have here the pictures and what the information of all of your events. If you have some events that is really similar to another one, you can just clone it. Also, if you have, for example, if you used Eventtia this year for an event, next year you can just clone it and it's going to save you a whole lot of time. That's going to be really, really nice. But in this moment, we're not going to clone because we're going to start right away from it as if we were new. So I'm just going to click on new and we're going to create a brand new event. All right. So here I can put the different modules that I want to have. In this case, let's just have all of them in case you have any questions regarding some of them. And we'll just start giving a name. So I'm going to say this is an academic event. And I'm going to say it's going to be 4 just because we have many academic events here, so the name doesn't repeat. So let's say it's going to be next week from Thursday to Friday. It's going to start at 10 a.m. like many events, and it's going to end on Friday at 5 p.m. Quite usual. We're going to select a country. In this case, I'm going to say the States. I'm going to say this is going to be done in New York. So, of course, state of New York, and then we're going to search for New York City real quick here. Here you can put any place, any town or city where you're going to make the event. I'm going to say that this is going to be on the Rockefeller Center because we're quite fancy. And I can upload a logo and a banner. So here I have my logos on my banner. So I have here my logo, I have here my banner. I already uploaded them. I can say this is academic event 4, and I can search for the location. So I can search here, and this is basically Google Maps search where you can search where is it. Okay, so Google Maps already found my address in the Rockefeller Center in New York. I'm going to put some brief description like this is the academic event that will be held in Rockefeller Plaza Center, New York City. Okay, I can put some just keywords in order to enable searches when people are going to search for my events. I can put my name, my email, and activate the event. So once I have done this, I will have already created an event profile, and this will be my event, so I can search it on my events, on my dashboards, and so on. I will already have this event created. So I invite you also to, when you do that, you can go back to edit and you can come here to settings and you can start putting the different general settings that you will use. So in this case, for instance, we're in the US, it's Imperial System, it's 12 hours. We have this, the date format would be month, date, year. We have USD as the US dollar as currency. We can also put the VAT, and we can also here set up the different payment platforms. We have in this moment 4 type of payment platforms, which are Stripe, PayU, Cashflows, and PayPal. Normally, Stripe is mostly used in Europe and also in the States, and PayPal is mostly famous in the States, but it's also used in some countries of Europe. And then PayU and cash flows, there are also some other payment platforms that are available for you. Okay, so once we save that, we can come here and we'll see the dashboard to see, how we are doing, which are attendees, or ticket sales, stand sales, meetings, etc., etc. And then we can come here into registration types and start creating the different registration types. This is quite important. So now it's 10:11. We'll see how much do we take to create all of this. So we'll create some registration types, which are quite important because these registration types are the ones that are going to give you the ideas in order to make a good management of the different attendee types. And what I mean by this is you can select 3, 4, 5, 10, or just one different type of attendee types in order to differentiate them from each other. What makes the difference? Maybe in one attendee type you want different information. Maybe in one attendee type you have different prices either for the attendee type or for some activities, or maybe they are just very different. So let's say there are press and sponsors, which are different attendee types with different type of necessities that you're going to adapt for. So in this case, I'm making an academic event. Let's say this is a university academic event. So I'm just going to have two types of attendees. I'm going to create one and then I'm going to copy it so you can see how easy it is to copy the different attendee types. So in this case, I'm going to say we'll have undergrad students and then also postgrad students. I'm going to give a price of 0 for this attendee type. I'm going to say that it's maximum 400 attendee types because let's say we have a 600 auditorium. And I'm going to set this up. So I can only allow guest registration, not important in this case. Allow public registration, which is the most usual. Allow participants to edit their registration in the event page. That's good. We can require validation of the registration, which means that I can accept or reject the person. And block changes that induce reimbursements. So I'm gonna save it as it is, and I'm going to go to the registration form and start creating my different registration forms for the attendees. So here you will see some by default spaces, but you can take them off. So for instance, I'm gonna take off invoicing information because that's not relevant. I just click on edit, on display it, save, and that's it. It's going to appear here, but it's actually not going to appear on the actual registration form. In this case, I'm also going to take off company because we're a university event, so companies are not important in this case. So I'm going to put this down, and then you can drag and drop them to put the different orders. So let's say in this case, for me, it's more important the city than the telephone to appear first, so I can just move it up. And then I can also create a whole new different type of spaces where so I can select if I want to use a text field, text area, drop down list, multiple selection, image, plain text, date and time, city and file, which is quite a big variety of options. Let's say we want to have a drop down list. So let's say we're going to say we have some universities. So we're going to say Harvard, MIT, Stanford, and Florida International University. Okay. And we're gonna say that it's required when registering, so it's mandatory to fill it up. If I don't say that, it's not mandatory, I can submit without filling that up. And we can also display. Normally we'll display, but this is used for, let's say you have some hotel rooms or something, so you might not want that to be displayed for the attendee, but you might want that space to be available so you can put that information from your site to the attendee, so that appears on the different profiles of the attendee and so on. That could be quite useful. So we're going to put this up here, let's say after email, university, city, okay, let's put telephone here, and then let's say we're going to ask something else, just maybe we're gonna ask for ID. So they fill up their ID. We can just put a text field. We can put, for instance, a validation that it only allows numbers. because normally IDs only have numbers. And you can also put maximum characters. Let's say an ID is 10 characters maximum. So this is a way also to kind of filter it and make it really specific. And also this field is unique and can repeat, let's say, 0 times. Because of course each ID is different from each other. So see, you can really play with these different setups, and if it's quite general, you can just leave like no times and allow letters and numbers, and don't put maximum characters. But in this case, let's just use it like this, so we can kind of have um, like this idea of how you can actually take advantage of the different um, spaces that you can create. So I'm gonna say first name, last name. I'm gonna say then ID, then email, university, telephone, and city. Okay, that's quite a good registration form. And by the way, you can also, for instance, click a new one and put in a plain text some kind of information. So here, say, please put your ID. Let's say your national ID. Let's say no, not driver's license or something like that. Just like some remarks. That is a plain text. And also, if you put here an HTML code, you can paste images and you can paste video, however you'd like. Okay. Okay. So we're gonna put this here. So let's say, please put your national ID here. Okay. So now you have this registration form, and that's how you use it. Let's get into badges. So you have different type of badges. You can have a desktop badge or a thermal badge. I'm going to show you how does that work. And also you can select the orientation, the paper type, etc., etc. So let's say we're in the States, we're going to have a letter paper type. We're going to have a portrait orientation, but I can also print it like on the other side, like type landscape. Um, and I can use either a DeskJet printer or a thermal printer. So DeskJet printers are regular printers, where you can actually have some just sheets of paper that are cut into 4 pieces, and I'm going to show you how does that look on our presentation. So this is, for instance, a batch that is cut into 4 different spaces. So here on the first space, you can put some stuff, here some other, here some other, and here some other. And as you can see, this is HTML, so actually you can paste images and so on. This is like quite a good example of how to like make a really good batch with a DeskJet printer. And then here, this you can fold it in you can fold that sheet of paper into 4 different kind of badges, that but like you can fold it into one, and that one you can put inside a batch holder. So this is a batch holder, and here there's only the front part of the batch. But if the person takes that out, then he'll be able to check the map of the site, and he'll be able to check the other stuff that is on the batch. Okay, so that's it for the um, 1 second. That's it for the badges, for the DeskJet badges. And then for the thermal badges, I'm going to explain to you here. So basically, they are printers that are called the Dymo printers. Normally we use them. It's the Dymo 4150, which are like this size. They're pretty small and they're pretty portable. So then what you can do is you can buy some rolls of basically stickers, and you can put like their QR code and their full name, or you can also put like their full name and then their type of attendee. And those stickers, you just take those off like this, like these are stickers, and you can paste them on some pre-made badges. So this badge was pre-made from Expo Fitness, which is an event here. And so this is pre-made. See, it's carton. And then the sticker is here. As you can see, this is a sticker that's pasted. And that sticker, you can paste it there, and it's going to make it really quick, because you just print it and paste the sticker and give the badge. And that's quite quick. If you want to use that option, that's also quite useful. Okay, let's continue with the badges. So, and finally, there's this concept of tags that is quite important for you to understand, because these tags are going to give the attendee the information that he or she has. So full name will be full name of that attendee. Let's say Tiffany Mark, that's the full name, and then the QR code is the specific QR code for that person. And then we can also put the country or the state or the city. So let's say this is something where states matter. So we're gonna say Tiffany Mark QR code, and then we're going to put the state. Let's say she's from Michigan, so she'll have the state here, and these tags will be used not only for the badges but also for the different communications, such as messages, which is the one we're gonna see. So it's 10:21. We had 10 minutes in order to create the attendee type registration form badge. Now we'll go ahead and see the messages. So you have two different type of messages. Normally, you can have a third one, which is the rejection email if you have validation. Otherwise, you have these two, which are the success registration message. It's just a message that appears after I submit my form, and it's just a message. It appears on my screen, but it's not an email. And then the welcome email, and that welcome email is actually an email that I'm going to receive to my personal email. So here you can also use the tags. So I'm just going to put some tags so you can see that that actually works quite good. So I'm just going to say hi, first name, and then I can say thank you for registering. So this is just for registering, and normally when they pay, if it's paying, they have then the welcome email. And then for the welcome email, I can put a different thing. I can just put like thank you for your payment. If the event is free though, it's not that important, but you can still use all of these tags, and you can still make different messages in order to make a difference between when you submit and when you actually are accepted to the event. So here I put first name, but I'm also just going to put here university, which is one of the fields we created. So here the fields we created, of course, also appear. Uh, we are glad to have the Dan University um, delegation. So you can use it like this, okay? So you can save this, and that's going to be it for the messages. So we save this, and we'll have already that set up. So that's it for the registration types. And then copying is quite simple. You just click on copy, you confirm, and then instead of undergraduate students, you can put postgraduate students, and that's it. You can also change the price. Let's say the price is going to be $100 for the postgraduate students and 200 attendee limits. So here, as you can see, I put a price, and it has some other stuff like allow registration without payment, and allow batch printing without payment, which you can also set up. So if I save this, I will now have undergrad and postgrad students, and now I have to attend the types. I can click on edit and I can change them. So that's good for the part of creating some attendee types. Okay, let me check here. We have some questions. That's good because I like interaction. So we have Tiffany. Hi, Tiffany. How are you? Tiffany's from Florida, one of our clients. And she says, do you have an attendee limit? Actually, no. In most of our Eventtia plans, we sell the EMS without attendee limit. And that's quite a good question because there are many EMS, so event management software. Actually, most of the EMS, like Eventbrite or Cvent or some other EMS, they actually charge per attendee. So if you have like conferences that you have 1,000 attendees, you'll have to pay way more than if you had 50 or 100 attendees. In our case, we don't actually charge per attendees. That's unlimited. So you can have as many attendees as you'd like. And then this attendee limit would only be like if you have any limit in the physical space of your event. So like an auditorium is 600 people, so you can't have more than 600. But if there's no limit, you can just leave it up like that. Like you can just put here 0, and that makes it no attendee limit. So as many people as they want to register can register. So that's quite a good question, and also I think that's one of our added values that we actually don't really do that kind of discrimination by number of attendee types. So you can invite as many as you want, and as many as you want can register. Okay, so I'm gonna show you back again my presentation so we can continue. So we already saw why and how to configure multiple attendee types and how to create effective registration forms. That was around 15 minutes actually. And now we'll get and dive into how to set up an event schedule with speakers, activities, and points of interest, how to design an attractive event website, and how the online registration works, which is quite interesting as well. So let's dive into that. So we already created these registration types, and now we're going to go to program, that which is a different module. So program speakers, we can create different speakers. In this case, for instance, we have an academic event, so of course we're going to have some speakers. Let's say this academic event has as a speakers, I have here some cables. Okay, good. Let's say this academic event has as a speaker some people from Eventtia. So, for instance, our CEO, who's called Mauricio Palacio, comes from Eventtia. He's the CEO. We can upload his picture here. We can also put his email, and we can put a brief biography. In this case, I'm just going to put that he is the CEO of Eventtia. But of course, you can put here many more stuff. You can put websites and links and so on, because this we use HTMLs here. So actually, if you want to paste a link, you can click here and paste a link. So that links you to some other place. So let's say we're gonna leave that Eventtia. We're gonna link it with our homepage. So we just come here to the homepage. We just click here. We just say copy, and we paste it here, and that's going to link Eventtia with the homepage. And you can also put images, iframes of videos, etc., etc. You can also put their Twitter and LinkedIn accounts and go on and click on save. And now you have one speaker. Let's do it again so you can see again the process and learn it quick. So Esteban Ochoa, he's from Eventtia, he's the CTO. He's our CTO actually, and we can see here his email is esteban@eventtia.com, and we're going to say Esteban is the CTO of Eventtia. We can also make the same step that we did, just put a hyperlink here so people can check on what's Eventtia. We can put it here, that's good. We can also set up the Twitter and LinkedIn if we have it, and that's it. Esteban and Mauricio, they're already created. We just created two speakers. That took us like 1 minute. And then if we go to activities, we can create new activities also that are connected to the speakers. So let's say Mauricio is going to give a conference on Eventtia. So I'm going to say it's Mauricio, conference in Eventtia. And I'm going to say it's going to be from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. It's going to last 2 hours on the 9th of August. So from 3 to 5, we're going to have Mauricio doing this. Let's say it's on the big auditorium. So let's say we have available seats 600. This is quite good also because there are many events that have like a big auditorium in which they can receive as many like 2,000 or 3,000 people, but then some activities are on some rooms, so we can actually put that that kind of limitation on the available seats of the specific activity. So let's say this is the main hall, right? So because we're going to have so many people. And we can also allow registration for this workshop, which means that undergrad and postgrad students can register, and we can also put some additional prizes. So let's say undergrad students pay 0, but postgrad students pay $20 to get in. And then we can also put a description of the event. So we're going to say Mauricio will explain the business cycle of Eventtia, right? Okay, that's it. So that's quite good. And we're going to click on save, and we'll already create an activity. So we come here back, and there is an activity. You can also put some categories for those activities if you want them to be kind of like categorized before you get there. If you have many activities, that's quite useful. You can also copy that activity as I just did. I'm just going to go back so you see. So you can click here on copy, and the activity will be copied like this one. So it's already copied. But then here I can say it's not going to be Mauricio, but it's going to be Esteban. And let's say it's not going to be on Eventtia, but it's going to be on software. Because he's our CTO. So we're going to say it's not going to be the 9th, but the 10th on the same time frame, but the next day. So the 10th from 3 to 5 p.m. And now we're going to say that it's for 200 people, because now it's not going to be on the main call, but on conference room number 1. We're also going to allow some registration here. We're saying that this is 0, and let's say it's $10 for postgrad students. And we're going to say that Esteban is going to teach you about HTML coding. Okay, because it's on software the conference, so I click on save. And if I go back again here, I'll have August 9 conference on Eventtia by Mauricio and August 10 conference on software by Esteban. I just realized that I put here copy because it actually it's going to say copy when I start, so I just have to erase that. All right, so now it's conference on software. That's good. Conference on Eventtia, conference on software. Perfect. Now let's dive into the points of interest. So if you want to put some points of interest, you can just click on points of interest and click up here on new, and then you can search for some points of interest. So let's say we're going to show some touristic spots. So let's say we're going to say about the um, Saint Patrick's Cathedral, which is kind of close um, to the Rockefeller Center in New York. So, yep. So we're gonna say, okay, you can come here, which is a tourist spot. And we're going to say this is the Saint Patrick's Cathedral, and then we can put a description. So let's say, I'm not sure about this, but I think it's true. This is the uh, biggest cathedral, Catholic cathedral in cathedral, sorry for that, in North America. Okay, so when you click here on save, it's going to be created. All right, so now we have it. So we can come back here to points of interest and put some other stuff. So let's say now we're interested in showing a transportation place. So we're gonna say which is the closest metro station. So we're gonna say this is the metro station. We're just gonna call it that way. And we're gonna say, or the subway station, in this case, subway station. And we're gonna say it's Rockefeller Center Station, 4750th Street. This is quite useful um, if you have some attendees that are coming from other cities or other places and don't really know the city. So now we have our main event site, and we have a touristic site and a transportation site. So that's it for the points of interest. And then now what we can do is we can actually go and, so here we can come back here. We had 5 minutes to create the speakers, activities, and points of interest. Now we're going to create an attractive event website. So that one's quite easy, and this is what I call magic in the sense of how we can create website easily. And by the way, it's going to be way easier in this, like really soon in the next months, because we're going to launch a new website editor that's going to have a lot of different new functionalities. It's going to be very, very cool. We're going to give you some webinars about it before it is launched, but it's going to be quite cool. So we can just drag and drop some elements here that might be important for us to show. So I just dragged and dropped the register, the speakers, the program. I think contact is quite important too. Location is of course important. This login is for exhibitors and networking. We're going to drop also a countdown here, and we're going to drop a free module, which is basically a module with an HTML that you can play with. This one, I'm going to use it for the banner. So I'm going to give it an order. So I'm going to say banner, then home, then I want to show the program, then I want to show the speakers, or maybe first the speakers, then program. That's could be more interesting. Program, then I'm going to show the location, then I'm going to show the countdown. Sorry, so program, location, countdown, register, and contact. That's quite a logic way of putting it. I can click here on free on edit tab, and I can take off this title. I can just don't show it on the nav bar, and I can insert an image. I'm going to show you how to insert an image. So you can click here on image, upload, and you select an image. In this case, we're going to put this banner. I send it to the server. Can take a few seconds. It's there. And just so you know, our width recommendation in order to have responsive images in Eventtia is 1920 pixels times nine, and then this height is going to be automatically made or put by the system in order to make this image the size it is, but in a responsive way. So I can click here on OK, and now I have a banner here. I can click here and save, and that's it. So I'm going to go back to website. So I kind of like already made this, and of course I can take a look of the at preview of how it's going to see. But for instance, here I just want to change the color palette because before showing you the final result. So I'm going to put this different color palette, and I can actually publish. And you don't have to be worried about publishing because you can publish, and these allow search engine indexing here, which means that people can be able to search it through Google or Bing or some other search engine indexing. And then once you go live, you can just allow it, because when you publish, you can also make some tests on the registration forms and so on, which is quite useful. So I can click here and see now. Uh, I say this is magic. So now you have a whole new website where you can have you can share it in social media. You have the academic event. You have some description. This is the academic event will be held in Rockefeller Center, New York City, and the title. You have the logo of the event. You have the dates, contact organizer, maps. You can also see the speakers, and you can see the description. And as you can see, I can open this up and it's going to show me the link that I put. Same with Esteban, see? We already linked that up. So that's how actually the linking is quite useful. You can also even send them emails because we set that up. So as you can see, we have here Mauricio, who is the CEO of Eventtia, and we have Esteban, who is the CTO of Eventtia, with their description and their pictures. You can also check the program, and you can check the explanation of each of one of the conferences. So here on Thursday, August 9, we'll have from 3 to 5 p.m. conference of Eventtia, where Mauricio will explain the business cycle. And on Friday, August 10, we'll have the conference of software from 3 to 5 p.m., where 7 is going to teach you about HTML coding. So here's how you see the program. Of course, if you have many more activities, they're going to show in a list. You can also check out the location, the map. So here you can look at that. You can see that here, if I click, I'll see the Rockefeller Academic Event Center where the event is. This is quite useful also if your attendees are accessing from the cell phone, because they can actually see that on their cell phone in the website. We can have here the St. Patrick's Cathedral, which is part of tourism, and the description. This is the biggest Catholic cathedral in North America. And also you can check here the subway station, which is a transportation spot, and it's the Rockefeller Center station for 750 Street. So that's a way of really giving some advices of your attendees, or of how to move on through the cities or towns. We have a countdown here saying how many days and hours are left. We have our register part, and we have our contact where they can contact us. You can also do a lot of editing here. If you click on edit on the different modules, you can also make it like put a lot of new information if you want. But this is like the main module, how it's going to show. And then on register, I will be able to register. So I just click on the register now, or on my ticket type. So I'm an undergraduate student. And now I'm going to show you, because I was showing you in the webinar presentation how the online registration works. So now let's go and see how does it work, because that's quite important for you to see. So how does it work? I can put my first name. So my name is Santiago. My last name is Castillo. Now it says, please put your national ID, not driver's license, as we had set that up. So I'm just going to put some numbers here randomly. See here, I'm trying to put more numbers and it doesn't let me because maximum characters allowed was 10. Okay. I can put my email here. And so you know what, this is my actual email, santiago@eventtia.com if you need me. I can put my university. Let's say I come from Harvard. I can put my telephone. Let's say this is my telephone. We don't accept numbers, and I can put which city I'm coming from. So I'm gonna say that I'm coming from Miami. So I'm gonna say this is the state of Florida. I'm searching Florida. Florida, it's here. And then Florida has so many cities, so I'm going to have to search for Miami. Oh, okay, it was quite quite quick. Okay, so Florida, Miami, United States, and I can also register to some of the activities because as you saw, we activated that app. So so we can register to different activities. I'm just going to register to both of them. Okay, good. So when I click on next as an attendee, I'm going to receive my success registration message, which is going to say, hello, Santiago, registration has been successful. And also here, remember we had put some info. So it says, hi, first name, which is quite good, Santiago. It's okay here. Thank you for registering. And I'll have my event details. And if this event was paying, or if I was registering as, for instance, if I was registering as a postgraduate student, I would see the payment button here. And then here, if I come to my inbox, I'm gonna check that webinars Eventtia sent me an email. Hello, Santiago, your participation has been confirmed. I can add this to my Google Calendar. And it's going to say, hey, thanks for your payment, Santiago, of course, with the first name tag. We're glad to have the Harvard University delegation. See, I used this tag also, and it appears right well there, the Harvard University delegation. So we can actually make it like seem really, really personal and seem like you are sending it only to that person, even though it's just a setup. Okay, it's going to tell me my event details. It's going to give me my type of attendee email and name, and it's going to give me my QR code, which is quite important because if I go to a fair, for instance, the exhibitors will be able to check my QR code and they will be able to save my information. Or if I'm going to do the check-in, I can also do that, and it works also with a cell phone because I can open this app from my cell phone and I'll have my QR code there, so they can read it up with our different check-in apps and exhibitors Eventtia lead apps. Which are some additional apps that we have in Eventtia. And if you're interested, we can also talk about that as well. So that's it for the website. We already made the registration. So we started around 10:05 Central Time, and now it's 10:42. So actually it took around 35 minutes with some questions answered in order to actually make the whole process of having nothing and saying I have to create a new event and actually having a landing page and having somebody registered and having already launched up your events. And then if we come back here to registration attendees, we're going to check who has registered. In this case, I had registered, so Santiago, undergrad student, and it was created today. And if I check it up, I can see all his information. I can see the activities. I can check the payments here. I can see the registration summary link, check him in, sending him the welcome email or confirmation email. I can download the participant profile, and I can also print the badge. So here I just downloaded the participant profile, as you can see. This tells me all about Santiago. What is his city, his number, ID, university. This is quite useful for many participants. And I can also check the badge. As you saw, I put states, so I can see my name, the QR code, and the state, because that was part of the badge that I designed. Of course, if you put some more images and some more stuff, it's going to look a bit more fancy and nicer, as the examples that I showed you. But see, we already also have the badges. So really in 30 minutes, we had the capability of having a complete event management platform that is working and that actually attendees can use, and where actually we have some pages and some contents that attendees have access to. So as you can see, it's quite easy, and I think that it's one of the best things that Eventtia has, that you can actually really create an event in 30 minutes. Okay, so let's come back here to our presentation. So now we have some minutes, some 15 minutes for Q&A questions, so questions and answer session. And for the conclusions, I'm going to say hi back again here. If you have any questions in the chat, you can make them, or on the Q&A part. And while you make any questions, I'm just going to give you out some polls. So I just want to have Okay, no, I'll have your first this poll, and then I'll at the total end I'm gonna give you the other polls. But now we're gonna answer this poll. So, in your opinion, what is the percentage of time that an EMS can save you? And I will answer this question. Do you think it's 10%, 20 times, 30, 40, or 50% of the time that an EMS can save you? Meaning that if you didn't have an EMS, how much time more would you have to actually use to make your events? And that's taking into account, how long it takes to create a website by your own, or how long it takes to create a registration form by your own, etc., etc. So I'm actually waiting for some other answers. Let me see. There are some other people that remain answering. Okay, I have everything here. I'm gonna share results. So thank you very much. 100% says that it's 50% of time that you can save. And actually, based on our studies, it's between 40 and 50% of the time that you will save if you have an event management software. Normally, this type of operations are really manual operations. So having like a Google Docs or something, it's really hard to export the data or to import it on other systems. But with Eventtia, you have all of these capabilities. Okay. By the way, if you want to actually make a question because you want to explain it further, you can actually ask me, and I can give you. You can raise your hand, and I can give you the word, so you can actually talk. You can actually make a question here live, like that everybody can hear and that I can answer. Okay. Let me check which questions we have right now. All right, one question is, how do we send mass emails to our attendees? That's quite good a question. So you have a way to send mass emails to your networking attendees, to your exhibitors, to your attendees, or to general people, but I'm just going to cover these two up. You can send mass mailings here on this module. I'm not sure if I think you're still on the presentation, so I'm going back here. Okay, so you have this module of mass mailing where you can click on existing. You can make some mailing lists, and you can create massive messages for your for. This is not for your attendees, but this is more for marketing. So you can just use the HTML to send this to 5,000 people. So to see how many people actually get to apply to the event. So this is quite useful for before the event, like for launching the event. This is quite useful, and you can put here the website and so on in the HTML so they can access it. So that's it for the mass mailing. And for the communications mass emails, you can go to registration communications, and you can click on sending mass emails or mass messages. You can see here some tips on how to prevent getting from spam. So you can click here on mass emails, and you can select either participants or guests. We can say it's participants. You can select which email account you're going to send it from. You can select the attendee types, creating on workshop payment status, etc., etc. So that's quite useful because let's say I want to send only and communication for people who are undergraduate students and that were on the conference on Eventtia because we changed of site. So we're going to say hi, and we can also use the tags, which is quite cool. So I can say hi, first name, hi, first name. We change. So here it's not going to appear because you actually have to copy all the tag. I didn't copy all the tag here. So hi, first name. Um, this is to inform you that the room was changed to the conference room 3. And then you can say best, whatever. And you can also put here the subject. So you can say, hey, first name, room change, or something like that. You actually don't have to put the other stuff like payment status and so on. If you want, you can, but if you don't, no. So like if you want undergrad students on this workshop that have not paid, that's one thing. But if you just want it general, you can just leave it as it is. And then once you have set that up, you can click on save, and that's going to give you an estimated audience reach. Of course, it's only one because we only have one person registered. and you can send a test email to see how it's going to appear, and that's going to use the first registration that the system has. And then once you're done, you can send it, but you can also clone it to send it to different attendee types, delete it or edit it. So if we come back here, you're gonna see that I'm actually going to receive a test email. Let me check if I'm receiving it. I sent the test email to Santiago. Yeah, sent. Okay, it has been sent. So if I click here on my inbox, I'm going to see I receive a webinars Eventtia email. It says, hey, first name room change. Hi, Santiago, first name. This is informed that room change was changed. So that's a quite good way to actually send specific information to the specific people that you want to send information to. And then you can just click on send, and that's it. And we also have one other that is on the exhibitors, and it's communications on the exhibitors. And this is actually also part of our general communications. You know, you're also going to see the communications module, but you can send it to attendees with badges or without badges, with activation codes or without activation codes, which is something that's used for Eventtia leads, with the status and with the email account. And you can also do the same. And here you can also send the username and password of the actual stands or exhibitors that are going to attend to the event. Okay, so those are our three kind of mass emails modules, but of course the most important one and the most useful one is the communications mass emails modules, which is used to communicate with your general attendees. Okay, that's good. I don't know if you have any more questions. Let me check. What about the financials? Okay, thank you, John. John is one of our clients from New York. Thank you, John, for that. So financials. So you can click here on financial settings and you can create some invoices. You just click here on enable event invoices. You can determine if invoices are sent whenever a new charge is processed or when they're paid in full, like the whole registration. And you can put here some of the tax as well. So if you click here and see more, you'll be able to check the different tags. So you can put full name, then you can put also state and city, and you can also click on university and put it, etc., depending on the billing information that you need. You're going to see the invoice here. You can put your company's billing information here. So let's say New York City, blah, blah, blah. And once you made all those changes, well, you click here, it's going to update the settings. And then when you click here on invoices, you'll be able to check the different invoices that are going to appear based on the payments that the attendees are making. And then in the end, you can download all the invoices. And this could be quite useful if you have paying events and you want to send invoices. And there's also so these invoices are going to be automatically sent to all participants when they pay to their welcome email. Okay, so they're going to have a PDF where they have the invoice there. This is quite useful also if you use financials. Thank you very much for all your questions. They are very good questions. I'm impressed. Okay, so what about the files? Thank you, Maria. Maria is from Latin America, and she came for this webinar. So she's asking, what about the files? So this files part, actually, some people get confused. This is not to show files on any website, but this is to share the files with your different users. So normally you have 3 users. You have right to 3 users per event or per account. And you can share some files here. So let's say I'm just going to share some presentation that's important. So I can put the name of what I'm going to share of the folder. I can click on save, and then I can get here in the folder and actually add a new file with the name and description, so people can actually kind of have this shared box. It's like a Google Drive or Dropbox, but inside Eventtia, which is very useful for people that are all the time in Eventtia. And also you can put some tasks. You didn't ask me about it, but this is quite important. So here I can click on my tasks, and I will be able to search for all the tasks, and I can create new tasks in order to give them to one of my attendees. So here I only have to one of my users. So my only user here is Webinars Eventtia, but if I had further users, I could assign to, let's say, John, the tasks, so I can tell him, this is important, this is for this event, blah blah blah, and they can check about these different tasks. So these tasks and files are some modules that are made for user connections between each other, um, which is quite useful, especially we have accounts that have like 20 users, and those 20 users can actually communicate between each other, giving themselves tasks and so on. So thank you for that, Maria. And we have one other questions, and it is from Ben in the UK. Thank you, Ben. So here we have, so Ben asks, what about the directory? The directory is a module that's specially connected to exhibitors, because here you can put some companies and contacts that are going to be part of kind of your customer relationship management with your exhibitors, or also with your networking clients. So you can check and put some categories, products and services, some contacts and companies. You can import data in order to have many companies if you already have like some databases with your clients, and you can create new companies. You can actually put a lot of info, but you only need like the name in order to save. You can just put like company X, and that's enough to be saved. But you can also add many more stuff in case that's very important for you. So you can put some company ID, commercial name, telephone, cell phone, zip code, email, city, Twitter, categories. You can add products and services. You can add some contacts like marketing advisor or the operations manager, and you can search for what's the history with this company and what's the branch of that company. So here it's actually really easy to create it because you only need a name. But if you want to put some more stuff, it's very easy also to put many more stuff and to have like a really good database of which are the companies that work with you. And you can also kind of search for the settings of the different spaces you want to put about. So let's say you have like this special ID for your company, or two different IDs, so you can just create a new ID and also as a text field, text area, drop down list, etc., make it required, and use it in order to have a very good idea of the customer relationship managers with your actual exhibitors or clients. Okay, thank you very much for all your questions. They were quite good questions, and now we're launching the two last polls, which first one is satisfaction. I would like to know, how would you rate this webinar? This is of course not going to show publicly in this webinar, and this is also anonymous, so you can tell us, would you rate this webinar awesome, great, okay, not good, or awful, whether you liked it or not, so we can have an idea of what's your satisfaction with this webinar. This is quite important for us to get voted, so please, if you haven't voted, please vote. We have about 30% more people that have to vote in this moment, so if you can please vote right now, right away, so we can have our rating for this webinar. I'll give you some more seconds. Okay, thank you for all those who voted, and I'm going to give you the last poll, which is, would you recommend this webinar to a colleague? And this is also an invitation for you to actually recommend this webinar to your colleagues. These webinars are done every 2 weeks. We have also webinars in Spanish and in French, if some French or Spanish speakers are at your company. Thank you very much as well for answering here. So yeah, please do recommend this webinar to others who are working on these projects. And the idea is, if we have many people, we're going to put more webinars, and we're going to create new webinars. There's one webinar coming ahead, that's a webinar for B2B. It's going to come in the next month, probably for the next month. So yeah, we have a lot of training here that can be quite useful for all of you guys that are users of Eventtia. Finally, I'm just going to say you can always come here to the help desk, click here on help desk, and you can watch the different information of the help desk, the networking events articles, the how to create your first event articles, which as a matter of fact have a video here. And if you want to check this webinar back again, you can come back here to webinars, and you can click here on August, how to create an event in 30 minutes webinar, where you will be able to open this app and see our YouTube recording for all the webinar in case that you forgot an answer or that you want to watch it again as many times as you want, where you can pause and play, and that's going to be quite useful for you. So this is our knowledge base. You can also write to us at help@eventtia.com. Event is with double T, remember. If you have any support issues, if you have any support requests, or if you haven't found any answers here in the knowledge base, we're always welcoming you to ask us questions so we can answer all of them and we can help you out. And you can write to me at santiago@eventtia.com for further training or for further acquisition of different services or additional events. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for coming here. It's now 11 a.m. Central Time. So thank you very much. And I hope that you can come back here to Webinars Eventtia. I hope that you have a very nice day for all of you that came. And we'll see you later. And please come back to Webinars Eventtia. So that's it for today. See you later. Cheers.